Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are taking a really dynamic journey through May's absolute best science images, all curated by nature. Throughout this explainer, we're going to unpack how a single captured moment, whether it's taken through a massive telescope, a drone, or a tiny microscope, can reveal incredibly rich, structured data about our changing universe.
So, right off the bat, I've got to ask you, what do an expanding stellar nursery, a deadly cruise ship virus, and glowing battery-free gadgets have in common? I mean, on the surface, absolutely nothing, right? But as you'll see today, these breathtaking visuals all reveal massive, interconnected scientific stories. They show us just how deeply dynamic our universe is, literally shifting and evolving right before our eyes, provided we have the right tools to look.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Marvels of the Cosmos, the vast universe.
What we're looking at here is the massive, sprawling Milky Way, seemingly fenced in by a delicate, earthly field of blooming lupines. It was captured by photographer Alvin Wu from New Zealand. And honestly, it's just surreal. It was actually one of only 25 images selected in the 9th Milky Way Photographer of the Year contest. It so brilliantly grounds the sheer astronomical scale of our galaxy right into a tangible, earthly microcosm.
Pushing even further out into the cosmos, we find the Trifid Nebula, which is roughly 5,000 light-years away from us. To celebrate its 36th birthday, the Hubble Space Telescope revisited this stellar nursery. Just notice the difference between Hubble's original 1997 shot and the present-day revisit.
See, the new image reveals a subtle but incredibly crucial change. You can visibly see the expansion of a plasma jet that's periodically ejected by a still-forming star. And this is mind-blowing, because it proves that astronomical objects don't just exist in deep, unmoving time. They are evolving demonstrably over the span of a single human lifetime.
Moving right along to Section 2, Next-Gen Space Tech, reaching further.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the number 240. That's 240 meters per second. Inside a specialized chamber in Pasadena, California that perfectly replicates the atmospheric conditions on the Red Planet, engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory are testing helicopter blades spinning at that exact velocity. To put that into perspective, that is actually faster than what the speed of sound would be on Mars.
You probably remember Ingenuity. It was a total pioneer, making history from 2021 to 2024 as the first aircraft to ever fly on another celestial body. But it couldn't carry much more than some basic sensors. These new choppers, though, they are the heavy lifters. They're explicitly designed to carry much heavier instruments, maintain flight for longer periods, and eventually actively assist future astronauts traveling to Mars.
Bringing it back home for Section 3, Earth's Changing Landscapes, Grounding the Science.
This brings us to a phenomenon known as Iceberg Alley. Early this May, a massive iceberg became stranded near Pouch Cove in Newfoundland, Canada. As rising temperatures in the Arctic take their toll, these enormous icebergs are breaking off glaciers on the west coast of Greenland, getting grabbed by southward currents, and carried all the way down past Canada's east coast. While it's a chilling reality of our changing climate, it's also created this huge, booming tourist attraction. Because, nothing says springtime vacation quite like watching a towering symptom of global warming drift right past your coastline.
Meanwhile, over in Madagascar, we see a very different but equally dramatic landscape change. Behold the Betsy Boca River estuary. Visually, from above, it looks completely abstract, almost like a beautiful painting of a blood river. But don't let that striking aesthetic fool you. We are actually looking at a rather grim environmental reality here.
Let's trace the domino effect. Nearly a century of logging in Madagascar's rainforests and coastal mangroves has led directly to massive riverbank erosion. So when heavy rains hit, the exposed, red, iron-rich soil basically bleeds directly into the river water. Ultimately, this vivid red silt travels downstream, heavily clogging the coastal waterways with sediment.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 4, Hidden Biological Threats, the Unseen Dangers.
Look at this staggering gap. Passengers from the cruise ship MV Hondius experienced a truly terrifying journey involving the hantavirus, which is an exceptionally rare and poorly understood pathogen. The hantavirus can have a super stealthy incubation period of up to 40 days between the initial exposure and the onset of any actual symptoms. Because of this massive delay, many of the surviving passengers are still currently being held in isolation in Tenerife, in Spain's Canary Islands.
To quantify just how serious this unseen danger is, the final disembarkation occurred on May 11th. And during this single voyage, this pathogen caused 3 fatalities and reportedly at least 8 additional infections. It's a really stark reminder of the devastating potential of rare biological threats hiding right under our noses.
And speaking of hidden dangers, biologists recently discovered a brand new species of box jellyfish, sitting right alongside its known, highly deadly cousin, Chironix yamaguchi. I mean, at a glance, they look practically identical, but the DNA tells a totally different story. Scientists confirmed through distinct anatomical and genetic differences that this new specimen is indeed a completely separate species. Belonging to the Kuboza class, which famously includes some of nature's most venomous animals, this is a highly dangerous new biological discovery.
What makes this discovery even more fascinating is exactly where it was found, Sentosa Island, which is one of Singapore's absolute prime tourist hotspots. The researchers officially named the new jellyfish Chironix blakongmati. Why? Well, it's named after Pulau Blakong Mati, the island's old name, which literally translates to Island of Death Behind. I mean, you really couldn't ask for better foreshadowing for a highly venomous predator drifting right next to oblivious vacationers.
Finally, let's transition to Section 5, Lighting Up the Future, Bioengineering Brilliance.
These glowing shapes you're seeing, they aren't powered by electricity at all. They are actually made of a bioengineered gel containing bioluminescent marine organisms. Brilliant bioengineers over at the University of Colorado Boulder have managed to coax these tiny organisms to glow continuously under dark conditions, rather than just producing the brief, temporary flashes of light that they normally exhibit in nature.
Here is exactly how they pulled off this bioengineering feat. First, they isolated a specific single-cell dinoflagellate called Pyrocystis lunula. Then, instead of waiting for a natural mechanical trigger, they applied specific chemical stimuli to the gel, in this case, varying levels of acidity. This precise chemical control is the magic key that unlocked the third step, achieving sustained continuous bioluminescence. So, the crucial point is, why does this matter? Well, by gaining the ability to control this light output and make it continuous, researchers have opened the door to some seriously revolutionary practical applications. Imagine a future filled with completely battery-free tech, highly efficient sustainable gadgets, or even self-illuminating undersea robots that require absolutely no traditional power source to light their way in the deep ocean. It's like something straight out of science fiction.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Today we've traveled from the literal edge of our galaxy to the surface of Mars, down to shifting rivers on Earth, and finally into a microscopic drop of bioengineered glowing water. Nature is constantly evolving, and science is our lens to witness it. So I leave you with this. What hidden world will science illuminate next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, stay curious.